Oliver from Rugby League, in my opinion, here. And I'm joined today by a very special guest. As I say, with all the guests that jump on, obviously, they're all very special. But today it's Jesse Sene Lefao, now Featherstone Rover. I was about to say Castleford Tiger, but recently moved across to the Rovers, former NRL player as well, with Manly and Cronulla. And you've also done a few different things in life that we're going to touch on. But first and foremost, how are you today?
No, I'm good, thanks, brother. Just grateful for life at the moment. Grateful for my family, and just really empowered with the things that's going on in my life. And we started training, so we're just the start of preseason, so it's good.
Yeah, well, as I alluded to, you've done a lot of things, I guess, away from rugby league as well. But the first thing I wanted to touch on was something that I actually had no idea about that you've just told me before we've hit record. And I thought, I've got to get this in here. You've just bought a pub, and I believe that's where you're currently speaking to me from now. And not only did you buy a pub, it came. I'll just let you tell the story because it's not the traditional in which someone goes about buying a pub or any type of business or establishment. So, are you able to just take us through this journey as to how you got
Yeah,
to where you are right now with this pub?
with this pub, this pub just come with a challenge. I'm part of a solid mindset. That's what the solid minds. It's called a solid mindset. That's the name of the group, and we have a challenge every month. And with these challenges, is you read one book all together, and then you get one challenge in terms of your life that you have to do for the 31 days. And this challenge this particular month was to get uncomfortable, and getting uncomfortable is like stepping out of your comfort zone or doing something that you're afraid of doing. And my kind of fear, I like to say, is speaking to very, very successful people, high
Which is why
stature.
you're here.
Yes. And I like to challenge myself in that environment and see if I can sit at the big table with the big boys. And by doing so, my challenge personally was to try and buy a pub with no money down. And speaking out there, letting people know that my challenge was out there, I kind of just bumped into this pub that the current leaseholders didn't want. As you can see, like it's pretty old school.
Oh,
And
yeah.
my goal is to bring this pub back to life. And at the moment, that's why I'm here, is because we have boys in the other room doing the plaster and that, and been peeling off the wallpaper. But anyways, yeah. So I got uncomfortable with these high landlords, negotiations. These are things that are pretty confronting for myself, and I really had to challenge myself, and then finding an investor, a business partner to help with the finance and stuff like that it was challenging. But yeah, I'd like to say that I've taken the challenge on with everything I've had and everything I have, and now here we are. We're about 6 weeks into this pub, and kind of like the progress, and probably gonna buy the one down the road soon.
Yeah. So, when you went and started doing this challenge, right, of feeling uncomfortable, did you have an idea maybe that it could lead to something like this, or that your uncomfortable thing might have been talking to people about businesses and maybe buying a business, or were you sort of going in blind?
Um, I was. It's funny because I talk to everyone. All right, so like if I meet you once, I like to talk to you and know what you do, and I like for you not to ever forget about me. So when you live an intentional life like that, and you ask people questions, get to know their story, um, opportunities start to just crumble out. And this opportunity came because I met up with a man, Cass fan, and he said, "Oh, my local pub, they don't want it anymore, and if the pub does get get thrown away. It's going to be a big loss to my community here at the Neverson. And I just went, okay, where's this pub? Who's the owner? And then he goes, yeah, mate, go meet Claire and this and that. And like, it just comes across like that. And that's how I thought, well, this is very uncomfortable for me to go and ask the leaseholders, I'd like to take over, and then go to the landlord and say, I'd like to buy it. And then set a full contract and stuff like that. Yeah, just compound effect, isn't it? So, yeah, it's a bit bizarre, but I love challenges like this.
Yeah, well, speaking of challenges, maybe this is a bit of a challenge that you've just undertaken with 3 other players, Peter Mataria, Suia Matangi, and Quentin Laulo Tagage. I hope I pronounced his name correctly, but you guys have recently started up a show, a podcast that people are probably seeing go across the bottom of the screen now. Talk Your Walk. I've just gotten done listening to the first episode, which is about purpose. So I just wanted to ask you, summarize the podcast. What's it about? What are you guys looking to get out of it? And where can people go to listen or watch?
Man, I love the way you've said that, and how you said it's a show. Not, I like the sound of show than podcast, because I think we're a bit different. It's not really a podcast. It's more of a connect. And the reason why I say that is because this all started with coffees before training. We go meet up at Costa, and we meet up religiously every day before training. We like to have a coffee. But the things we spoke about within that circle, that group, each morning was very powerful, We spoke about, someone would just say a quote, or someone might just bring up an event, and we all have our say of how we would act towards that certain event, or what we learned during that time. And most times we would speak in the mornings, man. We would like, I wish we had a camera, because the things we're saying here it's powerful, it's real, and it's like, it's our upbringing, it's who we are, and how we had to change our mindset, and it just really, really pushed us to be intentional with the platform that we have, and the sport that we do, and the people we can reach out to. So, man, this podcast, honestly, I was very, very moved with the feedback that we got. Talk Your Walk, pretty much as it is. We just talk what we went through, and the real challenges we went through, and how we got over them, or how we're dealing with them. And that's Talk Your Walk, man.
Yeah, well, as I said, I watched the first episode, and it doesn't feel like a podcast per se, and you can tell that you 4 are close mates. I didn't know about the coffees before training or anything beforehand, but yeah, you can tell the camaraderie that you guys have. One thing I noticed though as well, and this is just purely a bit of interest out of me, it's not, people talking over Zoom or whatever, or a couple of people in a mate's backyard with a camera in front of them, or down the local pub. It's a pretty good professional setup, I'd say. The cameras you guys have got, the actual set itself, you guys have got a bit of a set. If you don't mind, tell us a bit about how much work and I guess investment went into that, because it's if you head over to YouTube, after this, you obviously will go and watch Talk Your Walk's first episode. Like, you see the set and the camera angles and everything, and the quality of it all. So just tell us a little bit about the investment that went into that, and how much time and effort went into the production side of things.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know him, but this is a famous player here called Jamie Jones Buchanan, and he's played 20 years at the top grade here. 20 years. He's very, very famous here. He's highly respected, and it's his business, and it's called Rams Studio. And man, like I said, networking again. I reached out to him, told him our vision, and this is something he's really passionate about already. So when we told him, he was like, "Man, you're living my life. I just don't have this time to do this." And we did a little practice run, and man, it was just a meeting, and with us in that room and we just spoke life, he just knew straight away. So like he's looked after us, and he's pretty professional with all the setup and stuff. But man, in terms of time and effort, it just took a long time to get it like on stage. With training and family and stuff like that, we just got to find time when we're all available to spend that like 2 hours ready to go or whatever it takes. But yeah, so big ups to, Rams Studio. They're the ones that are looking after us and they're based in Leeds. But yeah.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear. And it's great to hear you've got that, I guess, support cast around you. Yeah, Jamie Jones Buchanan, obviously Leeds Rhinos legend. A
Yes.
part of that, I'd say that core group during the mid-2000s that went on the muck and won, I think it was like 5 premierships in 6 years or something. Speaking of premierships and rugby league, we might actually start talking a bit of rugby league now because why not, I guess. So starting off with Manly, that's who you played for originally in the NRL. I know you came through as a Penrith junior, but I've actually got a bit of a different question for you. This is something that I heard about at the time, and I've always been interested to ask you, while you were playing for Manly, did you work as a bouncer in Penrith?
Yeah, man. Look, I'm brought up in Western Sydney. Let's go. And when I had to leave, the Panthers, man. The structure there and the amount of talent, I just couldn't compete. Get a game, first grade game. Like I was 18th man a few times, and so I took my opportunity to go to Manly, and man, I was blessed when I got there. But yeah, man, during that stage, I didn't make NRL straight away. I wasn't full time, and I had a baby at 18. So when I didn't get the full time gig after under 20s, I had to go and work. And I did 2 jobs at the time, and I was doing I was a cellarman in downstairs under a bar at the Penrith RSL. And then I was security at the same place at night time. So I'd see the day shift people and I'd see the night shift people. Anyways, when I got my full-time contract, I got to give up the cellar, but I kept my security. And I'd done that for like 4 to 5 years. It was just normal to me. So when I made first grade, I used to run straight into the dressing room, quickly shower. Tubes will do his message, and then I'll be straight with my suit on, and I'll go through the back, and I'll wear a cap so I could just get out, bang, straight in the car. My missus used to be waiting in the car park, like on the road, ready to drive me straight to work. And I did that for pretty much my whole time I was playing. When I moved to Cronulla, I was working at Norvies straight after games. So yeah, it's been something that I've done throughout, and I think it kept me humble. It kept me very patient. It kept me motivated to get out of the working life. But it was something that I adopted and helped with my rugby.
So how difficult was it to maintain that and rugby league, right? Because I take it as well, if you're playing 7:30 on a Saturday night, you obviously wouldn't be able to make it. Although the Penrith are, I should reveal that I know this because I've born and raised in Penrith as well. So I'm
nice, bro.
trying to think. Yeah, maybe if you did play in a 7:30, you probably could get there for a late night shift. They don't close too early at the Penrith RSL. But yeah, how difficult was it to manage that, especially obviously while you were a cellar worker, of course, which I didn't know about. But once you made that break into first grade, to continue working that job as a security guard, as you said, at the Penrith RSL and the Northies, how were you able to manage it?
Man, people always say this, and I always have the same answers. Like, if you're in my shoes, I think anyone would do it. But I like the saying, if you know your why, you'll find a way. And my why was pretty strong. My why was my daughter. My why was my son. They come a bit later, and then my wife. I had to provide, and I love rugby, and I always love rugby. Like, I love competing, I love playing the game, but then sometimes it wasn't enough. I have parents as well. My parents that I provide for. And if they needed help, I'd always be there to help my parents and my brothers and sisters. I'm the oldest of 5. So like I hold a big title in my family and also in my kids and my wife, you know. So I think if everyone was in the same boat, they would do the same things. And that's what I needed to do at that time. And yeah, I wouldn't take it back.
Yeah, well, I guess it's great to hear the determination and the work ethic that you had. When you were at Manly, I've sort of going back through your career to this point, I've sort of, I guess,
Mm.
marked down 2014 as, at least on paper, I'd say a recently a sort of a big year for you.
Yeah,
Um, you would re-sign with the club as well,
yeah,
make your debut for Samoa, and I believe that's a year you sort of really made your mark in first grade in the
yeah.
NRL. So I just wanted to ask you that 2014 season, those accolades that I just mentioned, did you feel like that was a bit of a big step up for you in your career? Obviously, you debuted the year before, but what about that 2014 season for you?
Yeah, well, I like to say you got to be careful what you pray for because I prayed for that moment for 6 years. You know, like I want to get this, I want to get in there, this and that, I want to play international, and it's quite funny that I did it all in one season. You
Yeah.
know, and I went on the national. We did the Four Nations,
Yep.
and I went on that tour at the end of the year. I got married at the end of the year. Freaking hell, what a big year it was! But yeah, it's like a big lead up. Everyone thinks, "Wow, this guy's just come out of nowhere." But little did they know, 6 years of grafting, you know, working two jobs and doing this and that just to make ends meet. And then you get a good year like that, and everyone's surprised. But for me, I was like, finally, man." Yeah, and that was probably looking at it now. Yeah, yeah. It's so important to do the little things, whether it's your extras, your whatever it may be. It's so easy to get lost. So
Yeah.
easy to get lost. And that one less thing you do a day is the one less thing you're going to achieve later.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was a big year for me, obviously. Shocked me, but it helped me hit a lot of my values and the things I wanted to support with my family. And I got to bless a lot of people with the money I got and the stages I got to sit on and perform on. I was very grateful.
Yeah, well, in 2016, you'd end up at the Cronulla Sharks. 2016 for the Sharks, I don't know, a bit of an insignificant year. I don't know what was really going on there. Now, of course, they would win their first and to this point, only premiership. Now, while you didn't play in the grand final itself,
Yeah,
you didn't play a whole lot of footy that year. However, you did play at a pretty crucial time for the club. It was sort of heading into finals time, a few
mm,
injuries at the club, at least that I remember. And you were one of the players who sort of came in and were able to help the club sort of keep the ship afloat until
yeah,
those guys came back.
yeah.
Obviously, wouldn't play in the grand final because by then players came back. But what was your experience of playing in that squad throughout the season, that premiership winning squad? And your role in particular, because I feel like it gets underplayed. Obviously, it wasn't just yourself. As I said, there were multiple injuries and other
Mm.
players who had to step up. But one could say if it wasn't for players such as yourself stepping up during that time and being able to help steady that ship, that the Sharks wouldn't have been premiers. So, yeah, what was it like for you just in that system, that premiership winning system for the year, and your thoughts on your role in that premiership win?
Yeah, in that system, man, I learned a lot of leadership. Guys like Mick Innes, Wade Graham, Paul Gallen, and when you speak these names, these are big names in the game. But in terms of leadership, man, leadership is in different areas, eh? Obviously, Paul Gallen was the captain, but then at training, he wouldn't talk much. He's just all hands on, all action. But on camera, he's so
Yeah,
different. And I feel like he puts his hat on for certain things. Like when he's captain on the camera, he puts his hat on where he's talking a lot, being like sometimes just stirring the pot a bit. And then he comes into training very quiet, humble, competitive, but don't talk much. It's all action. And then you got Mick Innes. He controlled the whole team, man. He was the glue, I tell you now. He was very, very important. Without McInnes, I don't think they would have won or even got that far. His leadership on and off the field was massive. And then Wade Graham, just real smart as a rugby player. And they all connected really, really well. And then you had guys like Andrew playing best footy of his life and Matt Pryor. So it was good to see. And I know, I was very disappointed in that year because it was such a good team. Everyone was playing at peak performance. And for myself, if you're not at peak performance, you don't get picked in teams like that. But the biggest lesson I took from it was I come to Castleford after that year, disappointed I didn't play, but I got to experience a premiership, winning and that. But then we played a grand final and I'm starting front rower. So it's just a whole year later I had to wait, but I got to do it. But obviously we lost here. But I just say, man, that year of the things I learned through those players and the things I took on really helped us in the year I had here in 2017.
Yeah, well, it's good that you brought up 2017 because we can sort of segue into it nicely. You did bring up the fact you were starting front row for Castleford in that grand final after they'd won the League Leaders' Shield. It was one of, in terms of a dominant rugby league season, it's probably one of the more dominant seasons in recent memory, that Castleford 2017 side. Obviously would lose, I think it was by a point in that grand final, so you guys came very close. However, I'm not going to focus on that with this question. What I'm going to ask is something that I've asked every player that I've had on that's played in the NRL and then moved to Super League, and that's the move to the UK itself, because we always think of the player when they move from the NRL to Super League or Super League to NRL. We never think of the person who is literally, you can't go any further. You cannot go any further. England's right up the top. Australia's right at the bottom. You cannot make a further trip in the world. So I just wanted to ask, what was the move, the initial move from Australia to England? Obviously, you've been there for a few years now. I'm sure you're nice and settled in, but how hard was it to settle in? Was there a bit of a culture shock there as well, maybe? What was it like for you?
Man, for me, I got told how shit England's going to be from my mates that were here. Tiarana, he pretty much gave me a picture of this is the shittest place in the world, the shittest coffee, the food shit, training's cold, you can't go out without wearing skins, four jumpers, you got to wear gloves. And here's me sitting in Australia going, what the and this guy is saying, bro, honestly, it's fucking terrible. So I was excited to come. I've always wanted to come to England. My uncles played here. I wanted to say that I've been there, And then he's just told me that. And I'm about to get on the plane and my missus starts getting cold feet because she was excited. But then that week of when we were leaving, it started hitting her, leaving the family and missing weddings and missing 30ths. And so we got on the plane. And when I was on the plane, I just went, fuck, this is it. And I remember grabbing a paper. I think it was one of those, those papers they give to kids so they can draw.
Oh, yeah.
And I just started writing every excuse that I could think of why I can't play good in England. I wrote every excuse you could think of, and I wrote, everything. Sore, miss home, Suki, wife's not happy. I wrote every excuse. Yeah. Then on the other side, I wrote everything I'm going to achieve. And when I wrote that, the things I want to do when I get here: impact, value, add value to the people, know who I'm playing for. What is Cass? Who is Cass? Go meet the local community. When I wrote all my things that I wanted to achieve on the right, I couldn't look back.
Yeah.
Couldn't look back. And then when I got here, it's cold, but you get through it. You wear skins, but it helps you because it makes you warm when you're running. Yeah, the facilities aren't like NRL, but the brotherhood's good. Yeah. The coffee shit. He was right. Coffee shit here. You know what I mean? But freaking hell, other than that, man, I really embraced it here, and I really, really enjoyed my time. And now, I've just got my indefinite leave visa now, so get that British passport. Let's go. Yeah, how you going, man? Yeah. It's Pete. I'm from Walnut Supply. Okay, I'll come and see you in 5 seconds. All right. Cheers. Sorry, mate. One of the supplies are here.
That's a good. That's a good. Well, if only someone you knew possibly owned an establishment that could serve food, possibly coffee that wasn't so good. Maybe things are about to start looking up now that you're owning that pub.
Oh,
We'll try and get through things now because as uh, the lovely people can hear, you've got to get going and dealing
no,
with your
you're right,
business.
bro. You're right.
So
You're right.
Castleford pretty much for the past 4 years
Five,
has
five
been
years. Yeah.
five has been your home. You're now moving to Featherstone, which I believe I'm not an absolute whiz of England, but it's very, very close.
Yeah.
I take it you wouldn't have to be moving home or
No,
anything.
these
Yeah.
two clubs hate each other, bro. I've gone
Oh,
to the dark side. Yeah. So
so
it's
what's that like?
yeah. Man, I don't know, but out of all people, I don't know why I like it's just insane that I've gone to this team. But
Yes.
man, honestly, I just love it. Like it's just
Yep.
good. Like we've had our first week of training, we're into the second, and everything about the club, man, is about making Super League. Everything about the club is about growing. Everything about the club is like, how do we get that one game better? Because they've lost twice in the relegation game. Like whether they if they won, they would have came up. But obviously they've lost two years in a row. They lost, and they're really keen on getting up. And man, I love the intention over there. I love the values they have. I love what the emblem means. I love the people, and they're a part of the Doomsday Book, which is a massive book here. Do you know about the Doomsday Book? So back in
I've
the day,
heard. I've never actually had it explained or anything, but I
yeah,
think I've heard it passing somewhere. I've heard of
yeah,
a Doomsday Book in rugby league. I didn't know it was connected to Featherstone or
yeah.
anything, but
So
yeah, go
it's
ahead.
a big day. It's like I think 1810 when the Doomsday Book was. So this guy started writing. And during this time, all these bad events happened in the UK. It was the takeover, right? And he used to
Yeah,
write stories. And one of the stories that's in that Doomsday Book, because it's so significant, is Featherstone. When all Featherstone people are mining people, and they used to go to work to go mining. And the Featherstone people, even though these soldiers try to take over, they said, "You're not working today." I go, "Yes, we are. We own this mining. Like this coal is our mining town, this is us."
yeah.
And he goes, no, you better not come. And they kept walking forward, and then they got shot. They
Jesus.
just started killing people. Yeah, so Featherston's known, like, they're standing their ground. They're not going anywhere. They're a small town and they don't care. And yeah, they're ruthless like that, man. So like they're all heart, and when I found that out, man, I was like, wow, now I know why these people are so passionate. Their grounds people are all volunteers.
Yeah, right.
They come, yep, all old guys around that live around Featherstone, they all come together on a certain day and they come and do all the ground, they pick up all the rubbish, all volunteers. They don't get paid, but they do it for the club. They do it for the town. It's crazy, bro. It's so significant.
That's insane. And I think I also saw the other day that you guys are actually currently the favorites to gain promotion. I'd argue, though, over the past couple of years, from what I've seen, the championship as a league itself has gotten a lot more competitive.
Yeah,
I'd say probably 5 years ago or so, it'd be I think every year it was basically Lee Centurions and the London
yeah,
Broncos sort of swapping in and out. Now you've just had Toulouse get promoted. You've just had the
yep,
York City Knights sign a bunch of players more last year from Super League to make the move. Sheffield Eagles as well. Bradford are still sort of kicking up there. They had a really good season last year. I think Toulouse went through undefeated, and I think you guys only lost to Toulouse last year.
yeah,
So it was close, like
yeah.
really close.
Mm.
I take it's the expectation now this year to get it done, or Featherstone's not going to back down, especially because you've just been on that brink a couple of times. You'd surely think this is the year, and the club has also brought in, you know, a wealth of talent in yourself over the past couple of years as well. They've also brought in other players with Super League experience too, and
Mm.
NRL experience. Do you think? I know you've obviously got to say yes because you're playing, but is this the year was next year the year that Featherstone goes on up?
Man, um, my intentions with training and what I have to do, if I can just add value, um, have an impact on the club, on and off the field, those results will come.
Yep.
So it's up to us whether we believe in this philosophy that our coach is teaching us, we believe in our structure, and we believe in our club and our fans. Those things will come. So I don't want to answer your question the way you want me to, but that's how can I answer it. And yeah.
Well, I've got one final rugby league related question for you before we finish up, and it's looking a little bit into the future.
Mm,
2022, end of the year in England, got a certain event happening. Just a little event, just the World Cup for rugby league.
yeah,
Spoke about how you've played for Samoa in the past.
yeah,
Bit of a goal maybe for you to be included in that squad
yeah,
come in 12 months' time. And because this is just my opinion personally, I actually think it's going to be Samoa and Australia in the final. Australia can't meet New Zealand in the final. Got a verse beforehand. I'm going to say this plays a few of the Penrith boys pledging their allegiance to
yeah,
Samoa. Great to see Jerome Luai is now an ambassador leading the way
yeah,
there. I think Toto will be there. A few premiership winning players. There were talks that the Johns boys are going to take over as head coach. Haven't heard anything for that for a while, but it seems like there's a lot of momentum building for Samoa. Personally, I think at least on paper, you guys have got England covered, got Tonga covered. So, what would
yep.
that be? Are you wanting to be a part of that? Is that something you've thought too much about, or is it maybe something if it happens, it happens? Where are you at with that? Possibly representing Samoa at the World Cup next year.
Nah, man. Like when you get an opportunity to represent your country, you can't say no. You can't say no. Um, I think whether I'm in the squad or not, I think I'll still go and try and support them, go to the games and that. So yeah, look, man, to even get mentioned with the Tour Samoa would be an absolute honor, absolute honor. So yeah, man, at the moment, I'm just, I'm going to say what every player says. I'm thinking about
Yeah.
club first and then see what happens. But
Yeah.
to be honest, bro, if I got the call, man, I'll be ready with my boots and I'll be going over and I'll be
Yeah.
participating.
Yeah, well, just quickly before we finish up, I just quickly wanted to bring up a venture that you've gone into with one of the Talk Your Walk boys, QLT, and that's Tryline Properties. Tell us a bit about Tryline Properties, what you guys do there. I told the people at the start, you've done a lot away from rugby league, the podcast, owning the pub, working as a bouncer, and you've also got this Tryline. So
Yeah,
tell us a bit about that and what you guys do there.
yeah. Tryline was it all started when my family went home. My family went home for because they're family problems, and I was stuck over here probably about 9 months by myself. So another challenge. I said I got all this free time now. I don't have to do kids drop off, kids pick up. So let's think about my future and let's try and invest my brain or invest my time in getting my brain right and learn something new. And it was property. So I wanted to buy houses and I went and done a few courses and I told the boys, come, someone come with me. Let's go do this property thing. And no one would want to come. And the only one that wanted to come was Q. So Q came and then, yeah, Tryline's property started. And look, man, I think we're up to 21 houses now. We got 21, 27, I think. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, my
Too
head's
many.
gone. Yeah, we were just, yeah, we've been pretty busy now. But look, long story short, man, we're just so blessed that we get to pay our wives now through the company. They're employees of the company. They're currently dressing 6 apartments that we've just got. And look, they're working really hard now, and they're part of Tryline, which is cool, which is something that we try to achieve from the start. And yeah, so Tryline property started like that. And look, man, we're trying to get the 40 by the end of this year, and that's the goal.
Well, mate, thank you for jumping on today. It's been awesome hearing your story up until where it is now. Obviously, you're just focusing on yourself, your training, being the best player you can. But I hope in 12 months' time, you are playing for the Super League club Featherstone and possibly also representing Samoa at the World Cup.
Yes, brother.
Obviously, again, you can't think about it too much, but wouldn't it be great if it happened? And of course, I want to wish you the best of luck with all your other ventures. But quickly before we finish up, I just got to say, guys, head over to YouTube after listening to this. Check out Talk Your Walk. The first episode is out, goes for about 40 minutes talking about purpose. And you guys have also got an Instagram page you can go and follow. It's coming across the screen now if you're watching on YouTube.
Awesome,
At
bro.
talk.your.walk. Head on over there, follow them. And other than that, thank you for listening. And Jesse, thank you for coming on.
Take care, brother. God bless. Thanks for having me. See you on Instagram again, brother.